lunch at 12:30. Yale University from the USA against the University of Washington from the USA, the last race before lunch.
When I see that you are both straight and ready, I will start you like this.
So let's say good morning to Alex Partridge, who's here to witness what should be a really good day's rowing. Gets better by the day here, doesn't it, Alex?
Absolutely, Tim. Very good morning to you as well. I actually really love this time of day at the regatta. It's a bit quieter. It's a bit more personal for the racers.
So the Wyfold heat is underway, and off past Temple Island they go. We're watching the Tideway Scullers School on the Berkshire station, and it's Nottingham Rowing Club on the Buck station. This is the first heat of day 2 of Henley Royal Regatta, and it's such an important part of the race, this, Alex, as they go off Temple Island. And Nottingham, you can hear the umpire there urging Nottingham to get back onto their side of the water. That's going to be difficult, even without the wind that we had yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's essential when you're in the Cox's Roar like this to get your steering right. It's very, very tricky, particularly down there by the island. The stream is kind of bouncing off the island and can make it difficult, particularly after rain like we had last night. And you can see here, like Tideway Scullers, moving over to the boys on their side. So it's about getting off the start as quickly as possible, putting absolutely everything into it, but then you've got to make sure you get your line right and get set up for the rest of the course. But Nottingham here doing a fantastic job, taking the lead, and really kind of putting Tideway Scullers under some pressure.
So Nottingham Rowing Club, commanding lead early. Tideway Scullers School, they're based next to Chiswick Bridge in London on the Thames.
Yeah.
Very well established club.
Yeah, very well established club. Lots of history there with the likes of like Alan Campbell and Tim Mayle and many Olympians over the years. A lot, very, very good, very technical rowers. But also perhaps a little bit lighter in weight. I think Nottingham have the kind of brute force behind them, slightly heavier average weight, but Nottingham really moving away off the start, but Tideway hanging in here.
Important to keep this race as competitive as possible for as long as possible, and Tideway Scullers definitely trying to do that, and they are. They're making a good fist of staying in contention here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, rowing is a lot about the physicality and the technique, but actually it's your mental strength that kind of really is so important, particularly in the early stages of the race. So Tideway Scullers, Nottingham really pushing out ahead, commanding the early lead. But this is where you have to be strong, mentally resilient in your head, like the Tideway Scullers are doing. And Tideway Scullers look to me like they have a nice rhythm, moving across into the middle of the river there. Perhaps the steering not as tight as potentially I would like it. But they've got a nice rhythm, and Nottingham not really moving away.
So that's the Tideway Scullers School. You can see in the stroke seat there. That's Galli and Franchini, Lauda and Oganyoy at the back of the boat in the bow seat.
And what's so impressive about these crews here that you see in the Wyfold Challenge Cup, many of the athletes you see have full-time jobs. They're fitting their training around 9 to 5 and just trying to make it work where they can. It's a sort of true spirit of the sport, I think, the Wyfold Challenge Cup.
In the light blue, dark blue and gold here, this is the Nottingham Rowing Club. Harry Richardson in the stroke seat, you can see there in the baseball hat. And you've got Jack Coulthard, Max Parker and Simon Deacon.
Yeah, very, very impressive, actually. They've really taken the commanding lead here and moved away from Tideway Scullers. Very, like I just said now, Simon Deacon's a full-time doctor. So, imagine trying to fit the training in or around your career there, working a night shift and then having to jump on the rowing machine and, doing 20 kilometers at 6 o'clock in the morning, having done a full night looking after A&E. So very, very impressive.
Yeah, you've got the doctor, Simon Deacon, and you've got Jack Coulthard, who's a graphic designer, and Harry Richardson, who's just finished his undergrad last year, working part-time now.
Yeah.
Very busy.
What I like here, Tim, when you look at the contrast between the two crews, both of them rowing very, very well. But what you can see is that Nottingham, when they place the blades in the water, they're getting a hold of what I would say a lot more grip, therefore levering the boat. They're actually creating a lot more force. Whereas with Tideway Scullers, they're very smooth. I like the way that they're kind of very smooth and rhythmical, but it doesn't look like they're getting that same force on the end of the blade when they put the blade in the water. So that's what's creating that propulsion and that extra power, and that's why Nottingham are able to move away.
The back of Oganoy in the bow seat, Tideway Scullers. There's a little anxious glance over the shoulder there from Franchini.
Yeah, this is really part of the race where, if Tideway Scullers want to do something, they really need to make their move now. Just going past Upper Thames, this is where Tideway Scullers really kind of have the biggest advantage on that side of the river. It's equal, it balances out throughout the whole race, but this is where if I was in the Tideway Scullers crew and wanted to come back, I'd be really calling to make the move now.
And if you're in the Nottingham boat, you'd probably be quite excited, wouldn't you, that Henley Royal Regatta is going to continue to Thursday at least. And looking at this performance, it could go a bit past that as well, because this has really been a commanding effort. Last year in the Wyfold Thames Rowing Club beat Lee in the final. And I wonder whether Nottingham might be half an eye on that Nottingham Rowing Club here.
Yeah. I mean, it must feel very. They must feel very confident in the Nottingham crew. Personally, as an athlete, when I was in this position, I always had this paranoia and fear that they could always come back.
The fear of failure.
Potentially the fear of failure. But for me, the gap never felt big enough. It felt like something could always happen. And things can happen at Henley. We've seen crews get to this stage in the race and get the steering wrong and clash into the booms, and so anything can happen until the finish line. But some athletes, they're fantastic. As soon as they get into this strong position, it's like a thoroughbred horse, going down the straight when they've opened up against everyone and just kind of really opening up. And actually, that's what Nottingham's doing right now.
So our first heat of day 2, the Wyfold Challenge Cup. Club men's fours, Cockless fours, and they're easing down now, heading to the line. It's a long course here at Henley, and they don't want to be expending more energy than they need to, and they know the job is done. Deacon, Parker, Coulthard and Richardson over the finish line in the colours of Nottingham Rowing Club to win the first heat of the day in the Wyfold Challenge Cup, and the Tideway Scullers School over the line now. Nottingham beating Tideway Scullers.